What is going on, everybody? Most of you probably know me as Lazivo, but my real name is Jason. And, I'm the cute little kid in the picture you're looking at right now with the bowl haircut and the little leisure suit. This is kind of circa 1983. I was about 3 years old. And the reason I'm showing you this picture is because I want to bring you something a little different and a little special, something that's important to me. And it has to do with a story from my grandfather, which is the gentleman pictured on the right here. His real name is Raymond, and I was really close to him growing up, but he experienced a near-death experience, and it was something that for many years he couldn't even talk about. And prior to him passing away, he was able to record his story onto a tape. And I've always thought it was a really cool story. It was a really interesting story, and I wanted to bring it to you guys. I wanted to share it with the world because I think it's that special and that important. So I thank you for taking the time to come listen to this. It's kind of long. The audio is kind of choppy. He recorded it on tape, but I promise if you can struggle through it, that is a really awesome story, and you guys will really enjoy it. Like I said, listen to it in chunks if you have to, but it is kind of long, but it's worth it. It's worth it. And so, like I said, that's my grandpa on the right. I called him Papa, and that's my grandma on the left, right behind me there. I called her Mucka. That's just, I think I tried to pronounce grandma when I was little, and it came out Mucka. So from then on, she was known as Mucka. But like I said, I was really close to my grandparents. This is a special story that has to do with both of them. But primarily, my grandpa's going to be the one talking and telling the story. I hope you guys enjoy it. And leave some comments, leave some feedback. Let me know what you guys think of this kind of thing. I was a skeptic, but my grandpa's somebody that I trust dearly, and I have to take his word on what he experienced and what happened to be true. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and let me know what you think. Thanks a lot, guys.
This is August 27th. 1990. I want to record something that happened to me a long time ago. In fact, over 11 years ago. May 1979. I have lived this thing over and over and over. In them 11 years, I think I've relived that 1,000 times. Trying to remember every little thing ever, and it always comes out the same. Something like this you don't forget. You can forget a lot of things. You must forget what you had for breakfast yesterday morning. But something like this you don't forget, because it's something that happens to a person only once in a lifetime, maybe never. Most people. And so you just keep living it over and over and trying to think of some little thing that you might have forgot. But anyway, I will start at the beginning. This will probably take about a half hour. But I want to try to do a good job out of it. First of all, we in August 1978, we discovered my wife had cancer. And he told me right off the bat, doctor told me right off the bat after the exam, they said she's far advanced. Because I don't know. This is going to be rough. She's going to need a lot of prayer. And so then after the operation, you repeat the same thing. You go out there, you tell your kids to really pray. Because the doctors can only do so much. We're going to do the best we can. We're going to do everything we can. We give her chemo and radiation, nuclear radiation, everything that we can possibly do. But he said, I don't know how it's going to come. So it was that was a sad beginning, because I made up my mind there and then. When a doctor tells you that it's that bad, it's probably a lot worse than what he's telling you. So you might as well get ready for it worse. But anyway, we started the doctor. And they gave her, she was such a healthy person. And the doctors decided that she could take both treatments at one time, and they did. They gave her nuclear radiation one a day for 26 days. That's the limit that they can give anybody. And then giving her chemo at the same time, but the chemo was every 3 weeks. And None of the other patients could understand how she could possibly take two at a time, because one at a time was killing them. But she did, but it was almost killed. It almost killed her too. Well, anyway, after the nuclear radiation was through, and she took chemo every 3 weeks, she was sick for about a week after every treatment. And after that, she didn't get over it a little bit. She started eating, but it didn't take too long. On the side of 3 months, she went from 146 down to 132. She lost a lot of weight, and she was weak. Kept on going, and after 9 months, the doctor said they were checking her every 3 months, a full test to see what was happening. And they said everything's okay, everything's okay. You see, they had gone into her lymph glands, and then from there it was right in her bloodstream, so them cancer cells would stop anywhere they feel like it, anywhere, but if they could kill them all before it landed anywhere like that, she would have been okay. And she was okay until the third test. The third test, he said, it's in the kidneys, in the liver. Now we said, we're in trouble. But then the head guy, Dr. Singh, said, well, we've got to change the formula now. And he made it so strong and so powerful that he almost killed her. Oh, but she was sick. Man, and on top of that, he gave a prescription for pills, 50 pills for $50, and she took 2 of them, and she was ready to die. So we had to throw them away. She couldn't take it. But anyway, they gave her 3 treatments like that, and then she said, finally, Ray, she said, if I've got to die, I'd rather die from cancer than I would from this. She said, this is going to kill me anyway. She said, about 2 more treatments, I'll be gone. She said, I'm going to refuse to take any more. I said, well, you're the boss. And of course, I wanted her to take her. I told the doctors to talk to her and try and coach her into it. The kids all talked to her, and I did too. But she had made up her mind that she wasn't going to take it anymore. And lucky enough, 3 months later, I took her in for another check again, and by golly, her liver had went into remission. That third one was to put her in remission. So anyway, she lived after that about 6 more years. They thought she'd live about 1.5 years, so she lived 6 more years, if you could call it living. But during this period, the following spring, May 1978, I woke up one morning with a sore back. And, nobody worried about sore back, that's something, you know. But this was a different kind of sore back, just like a weight in my back. I still don't know why, but I don't know. I never had a sore back like this. I don't know what it is. So I didn't pay attention to it. I kept on moving around all day. And the next morning I got up and it was a lot worse. Same thing again. I was puzzled. So on Friday morning, when I got up, I was in real pain. I said, this is something, no, this has got to be something different. I said, why don't you call Milton and see if he can take me in this morning, check me out, see what's wrong. So you see, if Milton would have been there, and he checked me out, things would have been so much easier for me. But he was on vacation, I couldn't go in. So I said, well, I'll wait till Monday. Sore back never killed anybody. So I said, I'll wait till Monday. Well, I didn't wait till Monday. By 4 o'clock that same day, Friday afternoon, I was in such pain that I was just almost screaming. I said, I've got to go to the emergency. So I called my son-in-law to come over and pick us up. So picked me up. All went down to the emergency. Well, of course, the first thing they thought of was kidney stones. Seeing a sore back, you know, and it's so extreme. Kidney stones, they claim you suffer just like that. So they took x-rays and no kidney stones. Well, then he said, now we don't know what to do now except we'll have to take x-rays all the way through all your body to find out what's wrong now, because it's not kidney stones. All the while the clock is ticking, you know. Now it's getting to be about 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the afternoon. Still don't know what's wrong. But then by that time I was in such pain that I was just yelling And I said, you give me something, I don't care what. And if you can't find anything else, take a hammer and hit me on the head, because I cannot go on with this pain. So he called the anesthetist. And they said, no, you just give him enough to keep the pain down. So she just gave me ether, of all things. I haven't had ether for many years. And she was giving me ether to keep the pain so that it was bearable, you know, with my yelling. And it did. And then I'd wake up. I'd find go sleep just a little bit, and I'd wake up and I'd start praying. You know, I had a feeling right there and then. I never was sick the way I was that day. And I had a feeling it's like there was a big weight over me, just pressing me down. That's the weight of death. I said to myself, this is it. I'm going to die. I'd been sick several times in my life, a lot of different operations, but nothing like this. I had a feeling I was dying. I could just feel it. It's like this. You can't believe it. But a feeling it is. You can tell when you're going to die, I guess. So, I didn't see nothing, buddy. Then after they got through taking the x-rays, and they found out I had a leak in the large aorta artery down the left-hand bottom. It was a slow leak, and every time that the heart would beat, it was like a fog coming out of there, you know. It's like and that's the reason why my blood was very, very low. At that time, they started checking they checked my blood, and my gosh, I didn't have much blood left. And that doctor, he said, well, he says, now, he says, what do you want to do? What a crazy question to ask a man that's dying. What do you want to do? I said, what do you mean what do I want to do? Well, he said, you've got to be operated on, or just, if not, you'll be dead in 2 hours. And there's only 3 doctors in the city of Flint that can do this operation. 2 of them are south, and one of them is north. The one that's north, I've got his phone number, and he says he's on duty, and I can get him here within 2 hours. That's the best I can do. I said, get him. So they called him up, and he started home. But they didn't, that doctor, I don't know who he was. It was an emergency, but he didn't have enough brains. He was a man about 60 years old. He should have known better. He should have taken blood out right away and started thawing it out. And his blood plasma froze harder than a stone. And he never took no blood out or nothing. Just left me there, and all the while I'm bleeding. I've been bleeding for, well, 3 days. That's 72 hours. You can imagine how much blood I had left. But they kept me under anyway, just enough so that I didn't have no pain. And then, right there and then, I started to pray. I knew that I was in real trouble. And I had the feeling that I was dying. I could just feel, just like somebody had 2 hands on me, just pushing me right down. That's exactly the way it felt. But geez, I never had such a feeling. And I prayed and prayed. And what I did, I asked God. I said, no, I'm not asking for myself. I'm asking for my wife. I said, I don't know what she would do without me. She's going to die. And I don't know how long it's going to take, maybe a year or 2. She's going to die and she's going to need me. And I don't know who or how anybody could take care of her. I don't know what she would do without me. She needs me. I'm asking you to please extend my life long enough so that I can take care of her. And after she dies, you can take me the next day. I will not pray for my life anymore. I will go the very next day. You can pick me up and not take me off. I'll go willingly. But now I'm asking and I'm begging that you save my life so that I can take care of her. That's the way I prayed. And then, continuously, except for a few little times that I'd take a little nap. Sometimes she'd give me a little too much. I'd nap for a few minutes, but most of the time I could hear everything they said. And then when the doctor got there, I'm trying to think of his name now. That doesn't make any difference. When he got there, he took one look at the x-rays. They had him hanging on the wall there, and they showed him to my wife. I could hear her. He said, there it is. He said, no, he said, the odds are bad, real bad, because he's almost out of blood. And by the way, he said, did you take out any blood yet? And he told the other doctor, he said, no. He said, get it out, fast. He said, you should have had it right a long time ago. So they took some blood out, let it start thawing out. And he said, let's get this boat on the, no, I don't have what do you call that now? Let's get this thing on the way, he says. If we don't, they ain't gonna, no, I can't remember the exact words you said. Get this thing on the way, or there ain't gonna be no trip or something like that. And he started really giving orders. And then I knew for sure that I was right when I thought that I was dying. And then I knew that he did say, he said, his odds are against him because of his age. I was 67 years old. And he says at 67 is very old for this kind of an operation, and especially under his condition where he's lost all his blood already. It's very, very bad. Very few over 60 will survive an operation like this. But he said, we'll try. And but then as they were pushing me down towards the operating room, I saw my daughter standing there. I thought I better tell her that I know that I'm going to die, so that by doing that, they won't feel so bad. Otherwise, they'd feel that I died without knowing it, So I says to Gloria, I says, Gloria, I says, I want you to know that I know that I may not pull through this. In fact, I don't think I'm going to pull through it. I think I'm going to die. But I want you to know that I knew it. That may make you feel better. She said, we already know. She said, the doctor told us. I said, okay. I said, goodbye. I pushed me down there and they started operating. Then, of course, then they switched it. I don't know, they didn't give me no more either. I don't know what they used. They gave me something else, and she could just barely kept me under so I wouldn't have no pain. Because he knew there was a long operation, see. He told her, he said, now just keep him so there'll be no pain. And he says, this is going to be a long operation. We don't want to get him down. You got to give him as little as you can. So he started to operate, and I kept praying, and I kept praying, and I kept praying, asking for the same thing over and over again. I wasn't praying, I was begging, I was talking to him. I just couldn't make up my mind. Couldn't make up my mind to leave my wife. If she was in. Anyway, it goes on and on. And once in a while I doze off a bit and I wake up. I heard all kinds of different things, Finally, one time they said that his blood pressure is down. No, first of all, said that, let's see, my body temperature is down to 92. Well, you're supposed to start dying at 95. When your blood pressure gets down to 95, you're starting to die. I was down to 92. And I was smart enough to know that was real bad. I heard that real plain. And the head doctor said, well, we got to keep going, just keep out. That's all we can do. What happened, by that time the blood was starting to go into my body. Slowly it was starting to drip because it was melting. And when that cold blood got into my body, that's what froze me up. See, I didn't have enough warm blood to mix it up to make it right. So it was a bad deal. It froze me right up. Oh, I was so cold. Oh, I was so cold. And I remember for a few minutes there, I thought I was I was thinking that I was laying on the ice in Alaska, of all things. That's the way I felt, like I was laying on the ice in Alaska. But then the next thing that happened, he said, one doctor said his blood pressure is down to really nothing. He said, I don't know what we're going to do. It's 50 over 0. Well, 0, when we talk about 0, that's the one that controls the heartbeat. And if it's 0, you ain't got no heartbeat. I mean, you're dead. If you ain't dead, you're just about a quarter of an inch away from death. And he said, 50 over 0. Dr. Galamo said, well, there's nothing we can do. Keep on working. Keep on working. And then I said to myself, that's when I gave up. I said, now, I know that I'm dead. I know I'm going to die. So I'm going to close my eyes, go to sleep. And when I wake up, I'll be in a different world. I won't be in this one. It's all over. I just closed my eyes and let myself go. The minute I done that, I went under. And then the next thing that happened, that's the one that's the puzzler. All of a sudden I felt myself being picked up, dragged right out from underneath all, I don't know what contraption they had me up there. Backed me up, and it sat me like I was in just like I was in a chair. And we took off, going up. And boy, I'm telling you, it don't take long to get to heaven when you got them angels taking you there. You're going fast. Man, oh man. Never said a word to me. And I reached over. I knew that. It's like I had handles on my side and my arms on that. But I reached over to try and touch either side to see if I could touch whoever was taking me there. I figured it was angels, but it had to be. And I couldn't touch them. They were not touchable. First, and then we got up, and then we went right into heaven. Not very far, just on the edge, I guess. I could know we stopped right there, and I could see it. Looking from where I was, I could see there's so many people in heaven. They're not all going to hell. It was unbelievable how many people live there, and they're all moving around slow. They all move around slow. And the beauty of it, it just gets you. Trees, I don't know where to get their water from or nothing. All I know is that there's trees, and they're not big trees. They're the size of big apple trees. And they're so green. I've never seen anything so green. And just as far as you can see, them beautiful trees. And flowers, so much flowers. And the only thing that I remembered, I see this one woman bent over, and she was working on the flowers. Now, I don't know, they say that the people in heaven don't have any clothes on. These people have clothes on. Pastel colors, all different colors, pastel colors. And, otherwise, their face looked like the face of a human being. But anyway, they just let me look for a little while, and then the one to the right of me said, now I say she because that was a woman's voice. So the one to the right was a woman angel. The one to the left, I don't know, she never talked. It never talks, so I don't know what it was. He says, now I'm going to tell you why you've been brought here, he says. You have been praying and begging all night long for your life. This is the day you were supposed to die. This is your day to die, and you're supposed to die tonight. Now, he says, because of the fact that you have begged so hard, God told us to pick you up, bring you here, and give you a glimpse of heaven, and then give you a choice. He says, that's something that very seldom happens. But he says, he's giving you a choice. If you want to, you're here now. You can stay here. You're in heaven. And if you want to go back and take care of your wife, like you've been begging for, we'll take you back. He says, you've got 2 minutes to make up your mind. That's all. And I said, then they pulled me back so that I could see that I could see it down there where they were working on me. It was about, looked like 6, 7 people dressed in white, and they were really running around there. And in my own opinion now, I think that I was already dead. When they gave me the pulse of 50 over 0, and when you're 0, that must be the minute that I died. They were trying to get me started again. That's the only thing that I can figure out. And that's when they picked me up, see, and took me up there. But they were really still working on me. I looked down there, and then I looked to my right, and it just was so hard for me to say. I said, I want to stay here so bad. I said, but I can't, because I begged all night, and I've got to, as long as I have a choice, I've got to go back and take care of my wife. He said, okay, we'll take you back. They took me back. And then I could just feel them, and it seemed like they slid me right back into place again. Well, my body was down there all the while, but all they took up there was must be my soul. But anyway, they slid me back in there, and the minute I got back in that place again, I was so cold. Oh, was I cold. And they disappeared. They were gone. I was so cold. But then I had my right mind, and I had just clear as could be. I said, now I'm going to live. I said, now it's all over. I'm going to live. I can close my eyes and go to sleep and just sleep all the rest of the night. I said, I'm going to live now. And I closed my eyes and went to sleep. And the only thing that I'd done after that, I was dreaming a lot about being cold and laying on ice and all that the rest of the night. But I never woke up. I never heard a thing they said no more. I didn't hear a thing they said. And of course, about 11, I can remember 1:30, the doctor stopped. Maybe somebody else took his place for a few minutes. He went out and told my wife, and he had all the kids were there, and my brother was there. He had told them to get all the relatives, because, you know, he said, this is, he said, I don't need to tell you why. Get all your relatives here. So when he went out there at 1:30, he said, well, he said, I don't know why. I don't know how. It's hard to still be bumping. His heart won't stop. I don't know why. It just won't stop. So I'm going to go back and go to work and we'll go for the best. Went back into work, and then when he came out, I don't know what time it was 4 o'clock in the morning again. And he told him, he said, well, he's still alive. He says, now you can all go in to see him. All of you. At one time I was in an emergency, or not an emergency, but I mean, intensive care, you know. Says you can all go in there for 2 minutes. Nobody talks. Just look at it. Then he says, I want you to get out of here and go on home. If anything happens, we'll call you. There's nothing more that you can do. And there's nothing more that I can do either. So he said, we'll see what happens. So they went home. They never went to bed. They went over to my daughter's house, and they drank coffee and talked all night. And everybody said, all my children, I said, he's going to die. And my wife kept saying, she says, you underestimate him. That man is strong. She said, he's going to make it. He's going to live. She said, you can't live, mother, you can't live. So, anyway, they didn't get no call. I woke up in the morning at 8:30. Oh, and what happened then, they kept 2 nurses with me, you know, but there was 1 nurse on each side of me. All night long, they kept checking me. And I was so cold that they didn't know what to do. They put electric blanket on me. They turned it on wide open. That was under, first they put a sheet, and then they put that on. Then they put about 6 comforters over that. And so you were still so cold. The nurse was telling me this next day. And you were still so cold. I didn't know what to do. So then I see this, you know, there's a big floor mat that you walk on. I don't know if it's rubber or plastic, whatever. About 4 feet wide and about 6 feet long. She said, let's put that on. She said, but if that don't warm up, nothing will. He said the other nurse come around, they lifted that up and put it right on top of everything else. So I had about a foot high of blanket. So I didn't know it, because I was sound asleep. I didn't know nothing. I was asleep. And then they just waited all night long and kept checking my pressure and checking my blood pressure all the time, and my pulse and everything else, all the way through. And I woke up about 8:30, and I was just choking. I was choking, I could hardly breathe, all that weight on me. And I was going to talk. I wanted to tell her that I was too warm to take that blankets off, and I couldn't talk. I couldn't talk. And I kept blinking my eyes, and she said, "You're trying to tell me something. You're blinking your eyes." She said, "Now I'm going to ask you questions. And for yes, you blink once, and for twice, you blink no. That's the only way you can tell me what you want." She said, "Are you too warm?" I blinked my eye once. That meant yes. "Oh my God, yes." I can see the sweat on your forehead now. She said, "Let's go," she says. She called you and your sister. And they just threw all that stuff out. They took everything out except the electric blanket, and they turned that way down. When they got all that weight off of me, oh, was that a release? Was that a release? And I started to breathe freely. And I rolled my eyes to the left, and there was. There was my daughter and my wife sitting there. So early in the morning, 8:30. They came back awful early, and they let him in. They were standing there. They looked at me, and they see my eyes were open. They both smiled. And my wife, I think she said, "Are you still suffering? Are you hurting anywhere now?" I tried to talk, and I couldn't talk. I finally managed to move my head just a little bit like this, sign of no. I said, "Oh my God, thank the Lord." She said, "You suffered this one day." And that's the story. I was in the hospital 29 days, but I made it. It took me a year to fully recover. But I was there to take care of her. And I took care of her till she died. When she died, I was getting very, very tired. I think if she had lived another 6 months, I would have died too. I don't know how I did it. But God helped me. I couldn't sleep. The next morning, the doctor came in there shortly after this was done, after they had taken the blankets out, very shortly after that. He was there before 9 o'clock. And he stood there and he looked at me. And he smiled. He just shook his head. Couldn't believe what he was seeing. Because he thought sure I'd be dead. He never dreamt that I was going to live through it. He thought I'd be dead. Shook his head. "How'd you feel?" I couldn't talk. He said, "That's all right." He said, I'll come and see you this afternoon," he said. And he did come back in the afternoon. I said, "I don't think I could talk yet." I started talking about it in the evening here. But anyway, the next morning, he came there and he said, "Oh," he said, "I just can't believe," he said, "that you're here." He said, "How are you feeling?" I said, "Good. I had no pain at all." "Oh, he didn't tell me nothing." Now, this was on Sunday morning. Oh, he didn't tell me nothing until Wednesday morning. And on Wednesday morning, he came in and said, "Now, Race, I want to let you know that you're going to live. But don't ask me how." He said, "People talk about miracles. Oh, this is a miracle." They use that word very loosely. Everybody knows about a miracle. But no one knows more about miracles than a doctor does. He said, "We know what the human body can take and what it can deliver. We know when a miracle happens in a human being," he says, "we know it. And this one here is a miracle." Of course, I never told him what happened. I didn't tell him what happened. He said, there was no way that you could live. And you say, "Why? Well, why did you start operating?" This is what you're thinking. He said, "Because we take a oath that regardless of what, as long as the person's alive, we're supposed to try and help them. We're supposed to try and save their life, no matter if there's only no chance at all. We got to do it. That's the oath we take. And when I started to operate on you, I figured less than 2 hours you'd be dead. That's why I warned your family. And I was positive. I was just working for nothing. But I said, I knew you were going to die. It was impossible for you to live." He said, "And the condition that you were in, along with your age," he says, "zero. You had zero chance." He says, "if you would have come in here with all your blood, then you would have had a pretty fair chance. And if you had been 60 years old instead of 67, but very few over 60 lived through his operations. Most of them died. Because it's 60 or less, he says, we save most of them. That seems to be the breaking point. That you were 67. But if you had all your blood, you still would have had a chance. But at 67 with no blood, he says there was no way. I knew that was impossible. So he says, if I were you, when you get well, he says, cash in all your earthly belongings, turn everything into cash. And he said, go to Las Vegas and you'll break the bank. He said, I said, that's how much of a miracle it is that you're living. You're not supposed to be living. So, of course, he wasn't telling me anything I didn't know. And I never told him right to this day what happened. Because I was afraid he wouldn't believe me. In fact, I don't like to tell anybody. Because I know a lot of people don't believe this. They say, oh, he's just dreaming. I was not dreaming. Believe me, I was not dreaming. I've lived it over and over and over 1,000 times. And just finally decided to put it on tape. Now I don't have to try and remember every little thing. I'm just going to forget about it. And whenever I want to hear it, I can play the tape and I can hear it, and if I want to. If I don't want to, I don't have to. But it happened. Believe me, it happened. That's not an imaginary route. That now I believe that, there's so many people say, well, they died and and all that stuff. And I was kind of skeptical myself when they'd say that they could see the people working on them and all that. And I was always skeptical. But I'm not no more. Honestly, God, I'm not. It really happened. But there's one thing that surprised me. I think about that a lot. I never quite believe that the day we were born, our day of death was already set. A lot of people will say that. And I've heard some priests say that too. The day you're born, the day you're going to die is already set right there and then. And I didn't believe it. I thought that, there was no set date. Maybe you got sick enough, you died, but I didn't believe it. Your day or your hour of death was set. Now I believe it because they told me so. An angel of the right told me so. This is the day that you are supposed to die, she said. And God decided to make an exception. Because you prayed so hard and begged so hard, she said, he decided to make an exception. He said, get him, bring him up here, show him heaven, and then let him decide. That's what the orders he gave us. And that's not a dream. That is not a dream. That happened. But I've got another question. Why did she say, you're here now, you can stay here? That means that, well, how come I didn't have to go to purgatory? Maybe that they didn't go far enough. Maybe that if I had said yes, then maybe that I would have been judged and then had to go to purgatory. I don't know that. If not, then I don't think I'm that good that I could go right straight to heaven without going to purgatory, or without going somewhere to suffer for my sins. That one I can't answer. What if it was just, if I had said yes, I wonder what would have happened. If they had said, well, now we've got to take you away from here because you're going to have to do some penance, clear your soul, get it ready for heaven. But, she probably would have said that. And if she wouldn't have, well then, if she had left me right in heaven, then I'll tell you something. I'm not as afraid. I'm not afraid to die now, and I don't think I will be. I don't think I will be. I think that it's probably easier to get to heaven than what we plan now. But I don't know for sure because I didn't say yes. If I had said yes, then we'd know for sure. That's all I've got to say. I hope that you enjoyed this. That we're all believers in God, otherwise we wouldn't be here. We're all here to learn more and more about the things that we don't know, about the things that are impossible to find out. And this sheds a little bit of light on that subject. It just sheds a little bit of light that something that you might not know, might not have known before. So if you enjoyed it, I'm glad that I brought it down here.